Hi guys, hey, and welcome back to the Gulf Coast Growth Show. I'm your host, Jason Lee. I'm here with my co-host, Clint Aiken.
Yeah.
And we're joined by Trae Camble. He is the Director of of Environmental Affairs at the Port Houston.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah. So when you start talking port, man, I get thrown for a loop because there's like 5 different port things out there. Some of them are private, some of them are government, and they're all over the place. But you guys are the port and all the work that goes into the port. And we're here to talk a lot about sustainability, air quality, and the work and the things that you guys are doing to help leave a more environmentally friendly footprint across our port.
Right.
And that's kind of your job.
That's
you
my
wake
role.
up every day and that's what you're out there to go do.
That's what I'm doing.
Fantastic. So I got a chance to look at your resume on LinkedIn before we had the show. You got a great experience, something you've been doing straight out of school.
Yep.
And in the field making an impact. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and then your role at the port?
Yeah, sure. So I graduated from college, Morehouse College in Atlanta, and degree in chemistry. And then I got my feet wet kind of accidentally in environmental. I was looking for a job, and a friend of the family from back home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana said, hey, come work for me at Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. I'm like, sure, I don't know what I'm going to do there. But so I got into the air quality surveillance kind of department there, loved it.
Nice.
Stayed there for about 6 years, learned a lot from the regulatory side. And then I went to what some people may call the dark side, the oil and gas industry, for a few years. So got my feet wet there as well, about 5 more years, and then came to Houston. So I've been at Port Houston almost 7 years now.
Wow.
So I've been doing environmental work, I don't know, well over 15 years now, fresh, like you said, fresh out of college. So something that was kind of happenstance, but I've loved it ever since. So been enjoying it.
So a lot of people, when they hear environmental work, they really don't understand what that means, right? So we know it's air quality, water quality. What else goes into environmental? Can you kind of...
You sound like my wife. She probably couldn't explain what I do. But no,
sorry.
Seriously. No, it's okay. So there's, besides the air quality, water quality, everything that everyone hears, we also do a lot of recycling. We also do a lot of kind of waste management, not just throwing things away, but how do we divert our waste? How are we able to recycle and not have to throw things into a landfill? So that takes up a lot of our things. We also deal with spills and any kind of the bad stuff or bad things.
We don't
that
have
could
spills in the
happen.
port.
Infrequently, right? You
Right.
know, but it's something that can happen.
Sure.
So we're there to be able to help clean up or help call the right services to do that. And we're also thinking long term, and that's what we're here to talk about today, is sustainability and how do we sustain our environment for the future. So that's a huge part of what we're doing now, instead of just making sure permits and stuff are in place. But what are we doing for the future?
Yeah, I think that speaks to the story behind the critical importance of the future and taking an environmental approach through sustainability efforts. And I don't think people hear it enough that this region in and of itself, the port doesn't have to have you, but they do have you, right? And what I mean by that is because it's important, because it matters.
Right.
And so they go out, and I think a lot of times because we're moving so much stuff in and out of here, and it's all done on big rigs and big barges, and and then all the oil and gas footprint that's tied to it, and you have to have sustainability and you have to have oil and gas for all this stuff to work. So there's a balance and blend of the two, and I think it's great to see that it's happened not just in the plants, not just in the refineries, but also into the port region and port level. So talk to us a little bit about the sustainability efforts. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are working on.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you just mentioned is kind of what I'll allude to a little bit later, which is the collaborations with oil and gas industries and with other industries along the ship channel. But let's start with 2021. It was a huge year for us from a sustainability standpoint. We set a goal at the beginning of the year as an organization to produce our first sustainability report. The port has been doing sustainability work for years and years and years, but we hadn't really put together a report, which is kind of like an ESG report. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's Environment, Social, and Governance Report.
Nice.
That most companies put together. So we put our first one together in 2021. We added an S for safety, so it's an ES squared G report, right? ESSG. It encompassed 72 different initiatives that we've been doing over the past years that have been really, really good for us, that have made a difference in our community and for our organization. And we also added new initiatives that we want to kind of put into place. And it's about 27 new initiatives. So we got about 99 total. We should have added one more just to kind of round it up.
Right.
But so we're really proud of the initiative that we're going towards now. That's what 2022 and beyond is about. And it's about long-term growth. How do we sustain that? The port has been growing exponentially over the past few years, double-digit growth besides COVID year. So how do we sustain that, and how do we make sure we're here for another 100 years?
Right.
So again, 2021 was a huge year. So the ES2G report is one part of it. We also had what we call the Clean Air Strategy Plan, which is basically our air quality plan. How are we going to improve our air quality over the next few years? And how we measure that is by another report, which is called the Emissions Inventory. And that tells us how much emissions we're emitting on a year-to-year basis.
Oh, wow.
So what we were able to find out is that over the past several years, we reduced our emissions across the board for all pollutants, whether that's NOx, particulate matter, SOx, carbon dioxide, all of the above were reduced. And as I mentioned, we've had double-digit growth. So with that growth, we've still reduced our emissions, which is a huge deal. Right. That means we're doing something right.
Right.
Yeah.
And what we're doing right is we're being innovative in our thought processes. We're buying cleaner and much better equipment. We also went to what we're calling a 100% asset-backed renewable electricity contract. So our electricity for all of our properties comes from a solar farm in West Texas and a wind farm in South Texas.
Oh, wow.
So it's completely renewable energy for our electricity, which is really, really amazing. And we've just been able to drop our carbon footprint by about 55% over the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow, congratulations, that's awesome.
We're happy about that. A lot more work to do, but that's why these sustainability initiatives, as far as what we're going to do moving forward, is important.
And it's interesting because one of the things we were kind of talking about before we started recording was, some people may think, and kind of back to Jason's point, that you're doing this because someone's making you do it.
Right.
But y'all don't get any funding from the government to do this. So it's not a required thing. And I think that's a really significant point. ESG is about kind of self-policing.
Yes.
Right? And you guys are doing a great job of that, so keep it up.
Yeah, this is the beyond compliance part of my job. We're in compliance with our permits, air permits, water permits, and things of that nature. But this is beyond. This is thinking more leadership.
Right.
Right. And the port wants to be leaders in the environmental field for not only the maritime industry, but for other industries as well. So it's a big deal for us. We're excited about it. We're excited about the progress we've made. We've not become complacent. We want to have even more objectives and goals set forth. So we're in a good place right now.
Well, I think as people start trying to make decisions where they're going to invest their dollars, and they start trying to make decisions, today you see major organizations choosing and or not choosing who they're going to do business with based on their sustainability footprint. And so they say, well, I'm not getting behind those guys because they do this.
Right.
And companies will just not pick them. They'll pick
Right.
somebody else and spend money there.
Right.
I think the same can be said for our region and for the port. If we're not putting in the needed work and the needed due diligence, some people might choose not to come here. Or they might choose not to bring their business here. They might choose not to ship through here if they can avoid it, right? Because they have other options. And so sometimes it might not be, they have a different option. But I think by creating an environment that says we're all in this together, and yes, we need oil and gas, we need the things that are being produced in this other refinery, we need the oil and gas that comes through all these channels, the West Texas Intermediate from the crew that's shipped in from other places to then create all the plastics and do all that stuff that's happening right through your port. But hey, we're also at the same time doing it in a manner that we're reducing emissions, we're improving air quality, and we're solving sustainability problems. Talk to us about Project 11.
Yeah. So Project 11, it's kind of the internal name that we're calling the deepening and widening of the ship channel. And you may have heard about it. It's a big one. It's a huge project. It's about $1 billion project that's going on right now to deepen and widen the channel. And the reasons for deepening and widening is to make it, a wider channel is a safer channel. So there are or have been, accidents, and I may get the numbers wrong here as far as the width right now, but let's say the channel.
We can edit.
The channel is about 530 feet wide in some of the areas, right?
Sure.
But the ships can be, anywhere from 200 to 250 feet wide. So let's say you have two ships at 250, that's only 30 feet or so apart. So we call it Texas chicken.
Right.
with these two vessels coming together. So the plan is to have it as a wider channel. Now what that also does is reduces emissions because you don't have as many ships waiting to get in and out because you've got more room and you can maneuver a lot easier, even with the bigger ships. And it is to help accommodate the larger ships, as you're kind of saying, to keep us competitive with other ports who can get these larger ships from other countries and other areas. So it's a huge project going on. It's a collaboration between Port Houston and the United States Army Corps of Engineers. We're the local non-federal sponsor for the chip channel, so we do a lot of work with the Corps.
Nice.
But there's also other industry who are very, very excited about this this happening because they're able to get bigger vessels and things inside of their areas as well. So it's not just for the port as far as container shipping, but also for the Exxons and the Shells and Valeros and Enterprise.
Right.
Those guys are able to take things into. So huge project. We're in what we're calling kind of an accelerated pace right now. And we're doing a really, really great job with it. We kind of broke ground on it last year, and we hope to finish by 2025. That's the goal. A project of this nature usually takes about 10 years, and we're trying to do it in about 5. So a lot of coordination, a lot of running.
Do you sleep?
What's that? Yeah. Well, you say that, but I have a 2- and 3-year-old too. So
no, you're not sleeping at all.
No,
yeah, you're not sleeping anyway.
So no, there's not much sleep. But no, it's a great project to be a part of. And my part in that is kind of helping with the air quality questions and how we're going to build new oyster reefs and build new marshes for the ecosystem. So there's a lot of great benefits besides the air quality and safer channel aspect of it too. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, help me understand that. When you say we're going to build new reefs and talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So as we're dredging, there's a lot of dredging components to this, right? Dredging out to make it deeper, dredging out to make it wider, and there are areas where we will be destroying some of the oyster reefs that are already there.
Right.
So what we're going to do is rebuild for more, even more, not only what we're going to destroy, but even more than that for as far as oyster reefs. And the oysters are really good for the ecosystem, right?
Right.
They help the sediment, they help kill some of the bacteria and stuff that's in the water, so they're really good for that. We're also building marshes with some of the dredge material that we're placing there. So this marshes will be great for boating, great for fishing kind of off of, and just great for birds and other animals that can kind of live out there. So there are a lot of benefits that are going on.
Wow.
That we're putting into it. So it's a great project, not only for us, but for the region. That's how we look at it.
That's phenomenal. So talk to us about any big announcements or things that you guys have going on.
Yeah, so we kind of alluded to it earlier as far as, the port's got a lot going on. We're making some really big strides. We just made an announcement to go carbon neutral by 2050.
Wow.
So the port is committed to, we've drawn our line in the sand and say by 2050, all of our operations will be completely net zero emissions. And what that means is, there will be a process of getting rid of all of the emissions on our property, whether it's equipment, and that's from even the light duty vehicles that we have that people drive around, all the way up to the larger pieces of equipment, the RTGs that I kind of mentioned earlier, the large ones. And there will be potentially, some opportunities to help offset some of these things with the marshes that we're building because they have some carbon capture elements to them. So it's a lot going into it. We're not exactly sure how to get there today, but we're drawing our line in the sand and we're saying, look, we're going to be that organization that's going to say by 2050, no more emissions or negative emissions. So we're excited about it. Our executive director is going to be doing a huge or even bigger announcement coming up soon, but we've mentioned it.
No, it's too late. You stole his thunder.
Well, he can come after me. That's fine.
Okay.
No, but it's a great thing. It's a great thing to be a part of. And what I was kind of mentioning is the collaborations there. We can't do it alone, right?
Yeah.
We have all these ships coming in. We have the dredge trucks, which are the 18-wheelers that come in and pick up our containers day to day. We have about 6,000 to 7,000 trucks a day. So that means how do we
6,000 to 7,000 trucks a day.
a day? Yeah,
That's crazy.
So we're very busy.
Right.
So, but how do we get into those markets and say, hey guys, look, this is what our plan is. You have to be a part of it. We're going to help you get there. We're going to help you purchase new equipment, or we're going to help you, or for the ships, we're going to help provide shore power or emission reduction type systems on our property so that it helps you. And like you were saying, that makes us competitive, that makes us attractive as an organization. So making that kind of commitment and doing what it takes to fulfill that commitment is going to be very, very good for us, I think, in the long term. And that's what sustainability is about, drawing your line in the sand and making sure that you're doing what you need to do, so that our children and our grandchildren, we leave it better than how we came.
Right.
That's my goal. Yeah.
That's an awesome goal to have. That sounds like a pretty strong mission.
It's a very strong one. It's going to take a lot of efforts. And we're starting today. It's not something you can say, all right, in 5 years, let's get started. Let's start today. And it comes with how we're thinking. It comes in our processes, our policies, how we're procuring equipment, how we're even talking to potential customers and vendors in our conversations to see, okay, well, what's your long-term plan? So we're able to ask people that and align with other groups and other organizations that can help pilot certain projects. We're looking to do that. We're looking to just be innovative in how we approach this and not just, say, let's just wait and figure it out. Let's make some tangible things happen today and, go from there. So it's really exciting times. It keeps me, that's probably what keeps me up. Besides the two kids, the two babies, but that's what keeps me up is figuring out how we're going to do it. Because there's so many great opportunities out there and so many great organizations to work with. It's just, it's not enough hours in a day to even get it done.
And with all that, you're still a board member too with the Galveston Bay Foundation?
Yes.
You want to talk about that? Just what's that about?
Yeah, so Galveston Bay Foundation is an organization that's basically, they're there to make sure that the bay is taken care of. They're there to make sure that the ecosystem in the bay is really important to make sure that we're doing what we need to do, and it goes into sustainability too, right? Mm-hmm. How do we ensure that the bay is there for children and grandchildren? If you've been here in Houston for a while, Galveston Bay is a huge part of what we do. It's a huge part of the boater community. It's a huge part of the fishing community, and we want to make sure that it's there for generations to come. So Galveston Bay Foundation is a great organization to be a part of. We're doing a lot of different things on the home front. They even have what they call oyster volunteer opportunities where you can go bag some oysters. So if you guys ever get a chance, we can find out if you want to come. Now it's a little, it's a little physical to get out there and do, but it's a great time, right? And we'll try to go before it's too hot.
What do you get to do with the oysters?
So we actually bag them all up, and then we put them in areas in the water. We're actually in the water.
Got it.
To place them in different areas to help with the sedimentation, help with the filtration of the water and all that good stuff.
Right?
Yeah. We relocate oysters.
Yeah.
Cool. How many do you get to pocket while you're on in the process?
So afterwards, there's an opportunity to go get some oysters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's say so. It works through.
So
it was like one for the earth, one for me, one for the earth. So that's how that's going to work. So
hold my beer.
Hold my beer. So let's talk about. Obviously, that's a big role, big shoes to fill. Tell us a little bit about what it is that, you're on mission, right? So, I think a lot of times jobs can feel like jobs, and as you were talking about all the things that you're responsible for having to do every day, it's easy to get,
it's his passion, man.
Yeah, as I said, it's easy to get wrapped. I can tell you're passionate about it. So what led to your passion for this? How did you develop? It just seems odd, right? You're a chemical guy. You're from were you from Atlanta?
Or I'm from Baton Rouge.
You're from Baton Rouge, so you're from Louisiana.
Been in the chemical area for a while now.
And then all of a sudden someone gave you a chance in environmental, and here you are championing this stuff. And it sounds like you're working towards. Everything you've said sounds like you have a mission attached to it, right? Like this is where we're going, and this is how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
What is it that wakes you up and makes you do that?
That's a great question, and it is a mission of mine, right? You have to kind of live it every day and be in it and really be passionate about it. And for me, it's kind of like it's 3 P's that I use that kind of drive me. It's patience, perseverance, and pride. Mm-hmm. You have to be patient in everything that you're doing. I was kind of blessed with having that from the beginning, which is a good thing, right? And a lot of what's brought me to where I am now is taking a lot of patience. It's taking a lot of perseverance, just steadfast and just being ready for anything and the opportunities when they come.
Right.
Because you never know when that opportunity presents itself, and just making sure that you're ready for it. and then just having pride in what you do. You know, you can tell I'm very prideful about the work that we're doing at the port. It makes me feel great to wake up in the morning and say, I know my organization is doing a great job, and I know that we're going to do even better. We're not complacent. We're going to grow this thing. We're going to be leaders. We're going to be collaborative, and that gives me a lot of pride. And it feels good to be at an organization like that.
That's
to be,
great.
Where I am in my career, you know, personal and professional, I'm feeling good and feeling prideful. So, and that pride, you know, takes you a long way. And others, it can gleam with others, and it helps with your groups, and it helps when people meet with you, and you know, they can feel that pride too. So when you talk about it, they can hopefully get a little bit from that from you. So it can turn into a real positive situation. So
fantastic. Now, as we get ready to wrap up, is there anything that you want to acknowledge, or anybody else that you want to highlight, and anything else that you just want to share with the group?
Well, on a personal level, tomorrow is my anniversary, wedding anniversary.
Wow, okay.
So
that's awesome.
6 years for my wife and I.
Awesome. Congrats.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So that's a big thing. I can't not mention her. I mean, she's everything for me. She's
the little sleep you get is because she lets you sleep, right?
There you go. There you go. Well, you know, so I'm happy about that, and just you know, happy to have family. You know, family's a huge part of everything and part of my life. Happy that everybody's doing, you know, relatively okay. So yeah, it's been good. I can't complain at all.
Awesome, man. Well, and as always, we want to thank you for coming out. You know, we need people like you who are committed to not only the region, but to really a global impact, because we are a global impactor in the work that we do, and especially here at the port. So thank you for your commitment to that, and thank you for being on mission. And so for our audience, we always want to remind you that this show is really is here to educate and to help inform others. And so we would ask that you do the same, that you would pass this along to other people, help encourage them to pay attention and to learn the things that we're doing down here, that our port is working hard to create better sustainability and environmental impact for the region. And so keep that in mind as you go out there and share the story. You can always tune into us and go to allianceportregion.com. You can go right there to the media tab, select that, and there's a subscribe button, and you can stay tuned in. We send you notifications when a new show comes out. You can always contact my co-host and I, Clint, myself, on LinkedIn. If you have a great guest, somebody that we need to have on the show, send them over our way or make an introduction. We'd love to have them come out sometime. And then again, don't be afraid to reach out to the Alliance Port Region. If stay tuned into their events, they always have great things going on. And tune in next week when you see